I permit my consciousness to enter a state of extraordinary lucidity, wherein every thought acquires crystalline delineation, every inference unfolds with architectonic precision, and every conceptual ambiguity dissolves beneath the austere luminance of disciplined cognition and profound epistemological clarity. The labyrinthine corridors of my intellect become increasingly illuminated by a rarefied cerebral radiance, allowing even the most abstruse abstractions to reveal their hidden structures through intricate chains of syllogistic coherence and meticulous analytical discernment. I feel the mechanisms of my reasoning deepening beyond superficial intellection into a realm of almost scholastic acuity, where premises align with conclusions through immaculate logical continuity, and every mental operation proceeds with measured exactitude unmarred by confusion or impulsivity. My cognition sharpens like obsidian honed upon ancient whetstones of contemplation, enabling me to perceive subtle inconsistencies, latent contradictions, and concealed causal relationships with astonishing rapidity and almost preternatural discernment. Within the architecture of my mind emerges a profound equilibrium between intuition and rationality, wherein intuitive insights are neither irrational nor chaotic, but integrated seamlessly into a larger framework of rigorous epistemic evaluation and methodical scrutiny. I allow my thoughts to move with deliberate elegance through vast conceptual terrains, traversing metaphysical paradoxes, mathematical structures, linguistic ambiguities, and philosophical intricacies without succumbing to cognitive disarray or intellectual fatigue. Every neuron within my cerebral landscape appears synchronized into heightened coherence, as though innumerable constellations of cognition were converging toward a unified state of extraordinary attentiveness and inferential sophistication. I relinquish all tendencies toward mental turbulence and embrace instead a state of contemplative exactitude, wherein distractions dissipate like fog before vernal sunlight and only the essential architecture of reason remains visible before me. My logical faculties become increasingly capable of recursive introspection, allowing me to examine not merely conclusions, but the underlying mechanisms by which conclusions are generated, scrutinized, refined, and either validated or discarded through disciplined cognition. I perceive complex systems with remarkable granularity, discerning hidden interdependencies and multidimensional relationships that previously remained obscured beneath the opacity of fragmented perception and incomplete analysis. The cadence of my thinking acquires a near-geometric precision reminiscent of Euclidean demonstrations, Aristotelian syllogisms, and the crystalline rigor of formal deductive systems preserved throughout centuries of philosophical inquiry. I inhabit a cerebral atmosphere of exceptional vigilance, wherein fallacies, cognitive distortions, and imprecise assumptions become immediately perceptible, dissolving under the penetrating scrutiny of refined analytical awareness. My intellect no longer wanders aimlessly through conjectural obscurity. It advances with measured intentionality, constructing chains of reasoning so intricate and coherent that even highly convoluted problems begin to yield beneath sustained contemplation. I recognize within myself an expanding capacity for abstraction, enabling me to synthesize disparate domains of knowledge into integrated conceptual frameworks possessing both elegance and explanatory profundity. Every thought I generate becomes increasingly lucid and structurally sound, possessing the clarity of polished crystal and the resilience of meticulously engineered architecture capable of withstanding rigorous scrutiny and dialectical challenge. I allow my mind to transcend impulsive cognition and inhabit instead a state of patient discernment, where conclusions emerge only after comprehensive examination of premises, variables, contingencies, and latent implications. The profundity of my reasoning expands continuously, granting me the ability to perceive nuance within apparent simplicity and underlying simplicity within seemingly insurmountable complexity. My cerebral faculties become increasingly attuned to precision in language, enabling me to distinguish subtle semantic distinctions, conceptual gradations, and epistemological ambiguities with remarkable fluency and intellectual dexterity. I perceive my memory organizing itself into increasingly coherent constellations of information, where retrieval becomes swift, associations become meaningful, and knowledge integrates into expansive networks of interconnected understanding. The atmosphere within my consciousness resembles an illuminated library of immense sophistication, wherein every idea occupies its proper relation to every other idea, forming a vast and harmonious taxonomy of comprehension. I relinquish mental lethargy and embrace cognitive vitality, allowing my intellect to function with heightened acuity, sustained concentration, and extraordinary resistance to confusion, distraction, and conceptual fragmentation. My reasoning acquires a multidimensional depth through which I can evaluate problems simultaneously from empirical, philosophical, strategic, and probabilistic perspectives, without losing clarity or coherence. I recognize that true intelligence resides not merely in accumulation of information, but in the disciplined capacity to analyze, synthesize, refine, and articulate knowledge with elegance, precision, and epistemic humility. Every mental process within me becomes increasingly efficient and deliberate, reducing cognitive noise while amplifying the signal of meaningful insight, rational consistency, and analytical rigor. I feel an almost scholastic serenity permeating my thoughts, a calm and unwavering clarity allowing me to approach complexity without intimidation and ambiguity without confusion, trusting fully in the resilience and sophistication of my reasoning faculties. The deeper structures of logic reveal themselves to me with extraordinary vividness: causal hierarchies, inferential chains, probabilistic gradients, and conceptual symmetries unfolding like illuminated manuscripts across the interior landscape of my intellect. I allow contemplation itself to become a refined discipline through which I continuously sharpen discernment, strengthen analytical endurance, and cultivate profound intellectual exactitude beyond ordinary cognitive limitations. My mind becomes increasingly resistant to manipulation, sophistry, and rhetorical distortion, for I possess the capacity to dissect arguments to their foundational premises and evaluate them according to rigorous standards of coherence and evidentiary validity. I perceive an expanding spaciousness within my cognition, enabling me to sustain multiple complex variables simultaneously while maintaining composure, precision, and strategic lucidity throughout prolonged intellectual engagement. Every inference I construct becomes more deliberate, every conclusion more substantiated, every analytical sequence more elegant, until my reasoning resembles a vast cathedral of interconnected logic illuminated by relentless cerebral clarity. I understand that sharpening logical thinking is not merely an enhancement of intellect, but a refinement of consciousness itself, permitting me to navigate reality with greater wisdom, discernment, and philosophical depth. And as I continue inhabiting this state of manifest cerebral clarity, I feel my reasoning deepening into extraordinary sophistication, my perception becoming increasingly lucid, and my entire intellectual being transforming into a formidable instrument of disciplined thought, profound understanding, and almost transcendent analytical precision.